I will put this in the gen chat. Do I need to put this somewhere else?
Okay. Yeah, this stream's live. Yo, what's up, everybody? We're gonna do an overview today of like the PRs that came out like last Saturday, I guess like half a week ago. Um, and yeah, should be interesting. We might do predictions for week one at the end, depending on time constraints. But I'm here. Nails is also here. Fig Warrior is allegedly here. QSNS is here, and Shister is half here. So yeah, I don't know what to say. Um,
Oh,
let's just, I guess, start off like, what is everyone's like thoughts like on the pool overall? Um, let me- so we have, before I spoil the PRs, DOU. We have the starters, of which there are 10. Um, Zern, Nails, QSNS, Sporific, Eternal Snowman, Sempra, Bagel, King of Mars, Akaru, and JRL. So that's the pool. If you're haven't seen it yet. But yeah, what's everybody's thoughts on this pool? Just like overall.
this is the strongest pool. I've been thinking about it more. I think this is the strongest pool for a team tour we've ever had. I think Snake
Good.
2 was it? I think there were some.
Snake 3.
I think there was a lot of elite. Snake 3, sorry. There were a lot of elite players there, but I think there were some misses on slots. But I think everyone here has like a very proven track record, both on the tier and like half of them in VGC. JRL being 10th in this pool is absolutely insane and kind of speaks to the quality of it. This is probably the most excited I've ever been to playing a tour. Just because I'm not going to have a free week ever.
Yeah. Echoing that the pool is extremely deep. I do think that we need to see how the tour goes before proclaiming it that it's the strongest pool ever. There are some slots that have some certainty up in the air. Everything can go right for everybody, but and if everything goes right, then yeah, it's going to be the strongest pool we've ever seen. But there are a couple of slots that we will get to when we go over everybody specifically that have some question marks and definitely have a fail chance.
What else thoughts before I yap a little bit?
Only thing I could say we could have done to make this pool a little bit stronger is get like Rat Packer for Bagel support. Everything else, like everyone else, deserves to be here.
Yeah, or maybe Jello.
Oh yeah, Bagel whiffing a support, and
TO
really was snubbed. That's a bit of a red flag, and also the there's just some other slots that the support pairings are somewhat questionable, but yeah, very very excited to see the games this year.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think this pool has potential to be like really entertaining. We got some people back that haven't really played in a while. Sporific didn't play last year. He's still been like kind of around, but he didn't play in SCL last year. King of Mars has not played on Smogon really since like 2015 or something. And so I'm really excited to see how those two play. We have a couple new faces as well. People like Frixel or like ESM, who's obviously been around Smogon but never played in SCL. So yeah, I think like it's really exciting to see like how this is going to go. I do definitely agree with the sentiment that like some of the pairings here are a little bit like more questionable than others, as is the case every year. But yeah, we might as well just get into it. So if you haven't seen the power rankings yet, there is a whole article here, but we're mostly just going to be talking about the DOU section, which is scrolling down. Last year, Lunar had a fancy slideshow, but however, I'm not that technically skilled, so we're just going to be looking at the article. So in first place we have Zern, who technically doesn't have like a support, but his support really is Lunar, who is a manager. So yeah, everyone's thoughts on Zern here. Had a great SCL last year. Yeah.
Yeah, I rated him number 1. He's a solid clicker, and he's got the best support in the pool.
Had a great SCL last
he's
year.
like very. I wouldn't have rated him first in terms of raw clicking ability in the pool, but yeah, I rated him number 1. He's been active. He's a solid clicker, and he's got the best support in the pool. Not the entire way, but has
had a great SCL last
he's like
year.
very. I wouldn't have rated him first in terms of raw clicking ability in the pool, but yeah, I rated him number 1. He's active. He's a solid clicker, and he's got the best support in the pool. Not the entire way, but has
had a great SCL last
he's
year.
like very. I wouldn't have rated him first in terms of raw clicking ability in the pool, but yeah, I rated him number 1. He's a solid clicker, and he's got the best support in the pool. Not the entire way, but
had a great SCL.
XY in RFPL, and I don't know if his teams have been the best, but fortunately he does not have to worry about that at all. Lunar support is absolutely insane, and Zern is genuinely incredible as a player. I also ranked him first. I just don't see this ever flopping, and he's very, very comfortably going to go positive. I do not see a world. Support is absolutely insane, and Zern is genuinely incredible as a player. I also ranked him first. I just don't see this ever flopping, and he's very, very comfortably going to 9-1. You cannot really. I do not see a world. It is absolutely insane, and Zern is genuinely incredible as a player. And he's very, very comfortably going to 9-1. You cannot really. I do not see a world. It is absolutely insane, and Zern is genuinely incredible as a player.
Anything to add?
And he's very, very.
Suppose not.
Nothing on
Yeah.
my end.
The only thing that worries me about placing him so high is he had a very shaky game in doubles derby tiebreaks against ESM.
Oh, maybe ESM is the one who ranked him 8th. Okay, that would explain it.
I'd love to piece together the outliers and the rankings.
Because
That could be a fun little game.
one of the 10 or one of the 9 other teams did rank Zern slot 8th. And it's hard to figure who that would have been. And maybe ESM just like, yeah, he kind of played bad against me. Everybody turns in stinkers every so often. And
Yep.
We will find the game.
yeah.
Oh yeah, this game's
Here
a
we
wash.
go.
Oh god. Oh, this game is a wash.
The upper hand.
The turn 1 is rough.
I'd love.
Yeah. That was also a turn 2.
Oh.
Oh.
Dear lord. Yeah. You know, I don't blame him.
Oh.
He turns 3 KOs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
But yeah, this happens. I mean, I think at this point, like, he hadn't like really like played much in like a while. So I think it's definitely like more understandable coming from that. I think he'll definitely be putting like a lot more effort into this than the random derby games, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah. I also think
I
this is
definitely
like
think this is
a
like
pretty core
a pretty
team build
clear like
into
number one
ESM.
overall.
Yeah.
But to
Yeah.
his credit, he also had a really good Nuzlocke run in DUU.
True.
After getting beaten week 1 and losing a considerable amount of his pool.
Counterpoint, skill at DUU is inversely proportional to skill at DOU. Am I right or am I right?
So true.
But yeah, I don't think anyone's too surprised here. I mean, after like the records he's put up the last couple of years, not even just like SCL last year, but in the last couple of DPLs, like I bet if you like combined records from those two DPLs, like it'd probably be like ESM 1, Zern 2, something like that. Or the other way around. Because I think he had like a really good DPL like last year as well. Although
Yeah,
I
it's just
cannot remember that far back. Let's see.
to me, I see number 1 as like the king of consistency. Right?
Yeah.
So
There's just zero flop potential in that slot.
it's like while 9-1 is like phenomenal, you can't discount that at all. If you had something else that's something pretty big that
Derby,
discredits
8-2 in DPL.
that record.
Yeah, it's a disgusting record.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
Okay. So that's number 1. So moving on to number 2, I'm gonna try to not scroll down too much to like spoil it if people haven't seen. But number 2 is Nails, who is paired with myself. So neither of us are really allowed to talk about this.
Oh yeah, we are. What do you mean?
Yeah, you
we're
are.
we're the best position to provide insight.
I guess.
Terrible perspective. But anyways, I'll let Hunter take the lead on this if you'd like.
So I ranked Nail second, but not but. Yeah, I mean
No.
you're good.
Yeah.
I had
No,
a few
being second in this pool is high praise.
Yeah, I mean, I did rank you second. I think you are. I've noticed that you're like a bit of out of form in SV. I think I'm not expecting like a fantastic record from you, but I'm kind of. It's very hard to look at any of these slots and say, "Oh yeah, they're going super positive. They're going like 7-2 or something in regular season." And if we're going off of that, it's very hard to rank you anything but like first or second. I think Aragon is like quite a good support for you. Last year, I kind of noticed that I didn't love your teams last year.
I did not get phenomenal supporting from Actuarily last year, and having Aragon on my side should be better.
Yeah, I think a lot of your teams last year were very slow, and I don't think it matched the pace of the format super well. And I think Aragon is very good at doing that. You will have to be the wall on some of his ideas, but I think you are able to do that and say we're not bringing Serendipity. But otherwise, like, yeah, I think Aragon is a great support for you the more that I think about it. And yeah, your sheet record is disgusting. It's very hard not to put you here.
Okay, Control F nails in this sheet, the 2024 sheet.
2024 sheet.
No, the 20
0.
Oh, that's tough.
Unfortunate.
Okay, so this guy's washed.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything.
This guy's so washed. You know, you're not last. You're not last.
57.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that matters for you at all. I think it matters more for Gavin, but
yes,
you have like pretty consistently shown up and without playing a single other game that year and put up a positive record. I think you're allowed to dip for the rest of the year.
Am I allowed to short this? We'll see. Oh, I don't know if that's what I wanted to do.
Oh God.
I may have
Yo,
broken
Croven's at the top. Let's go.
it. To go.
You may have broken that slightly.
It's fine. You can control Z it.
Wait, how do I get out of this shit? Okay, there we go. Other way.
Oh god.
Surely that's what needs to happen. Okay, yeah. Second all time in terms of like official tour game wins. Only behind Biosci, who hasn't logged in, I think, in like several years. But yeah,
I have managed to pass John in Team Tour's win rate. Going 9-1 was really good for that, and I did that a couple of years ago. I think I'm actually scroll down. In the non-banned category, I'm just curious who else is ahead of me. Zern, fair enough. And finally, he's got me.
Yo, shout out finally. Holy hell.
oh, in terms of like win rate,
9-3 on the sheet. Yeah, in official Team Tours. Like I'm
Yeah.
looking at the RS and T columns. So Z Strats, Bandaducer was good at Pokemon though. Scroll down a bit further. Who also? And then yeah, we've got Zern at 9-1 because he's played one tour. Umbri also one of the goats.
I was looking at the wrong column.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Mishimono, solid 8-4.
Was the last one Shimono played
Very
in the 1v1?
I'm very scared of this column for my own ranking, but oh well.
Oh, we're not gonna get that. Don't worry about it.
Hey, Ebony, you
Oh,
are 1,
God.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
You are
we can
6th
stop
all
scrolling.
time.
It's fine. There's some other names at the below there, but yeah. So yeah, definitely gonna have to knock Zern down a peg and try to maintain my lead on Israel. 6 and I think I keep my lead if I go 6-3.
Easy.
I'm not going to mess around with the percents. But yeah, I guess that's nails. We're going slow. Let's go to the third. Okay,
Oh my god, that's me.
QSNS at third.
Hey.
Not too surprising. Second best record behind Zern last year, 7-1. Everything before that was fake, and we're not going to allow self-deprecation on this show. So, yeah.
I mean, I had a glow up in my Smogon career too. I started out really poor on the official team tours sheet, and then I decided actually I'm going to be good and not bad, and then I was good. And QSNS seems to have done the same thing, and so they get a pass on the stuff that happened earlier. Like if you were bad, but then you're not, and now you're not bad. Like it's just that has changed now. It's not the earlier data. The data points don't go away, but they all get asterisked. So like pre glow up QSNS and post glow up QSNS are just two different people for evaluation purposes.
Note to readers: I was bad.
What do you think caused the glow up though?
I'm not sure. I kind of just started winning and then actually started analyzing my games. Turns out that's like very good for playing better. I think I just had like a lucky streak of going like 3 or 4-0, and I'm like, oh, Pokemon's great, and now I'm having a great time winning.
Fair enough.
I think I have like a decent flop potential if I lose motivation this tournament. I think that's what caused like a lot of my poor performances. But I have also built out like 3 or 4 weeks worth of teams. So I don't think that's going to happen.
That is always
Which would
really
be
helpful.
nice.
Yeah, having stuff you can like. for people who have not played one of these team tours before, reusing is heavily frowned upon. You can definitely do it, and if you pick your spots, but and it's hard to completely avoid reusing. But it's just really hard to build a new team every single week. And so having stuff that's in the builder that isn't earmarked for a specific person, and you can just like load it up if you like. You still try to build every week, but sometimes stuff just doesn't come together. And so having builds that you can fall back on, it just raises your floor by a really important margin. Like you're not gonna. It's not feasible to load up new gas every single week of a team tour 9 weeks in a row. So just making sure that your teams that are not your best stuff, but are still like capable of winning. It's the difference between like a 4 and 5 tour and a 6 and 3 tour, because like you went 2 and 1 instead of 0 and 3 in those games.
I think this is like a very deserved placement. Having like a great record last year, and while not being like super like active, I think like playing like SV like since then, like none of the pool has except for like maybe Bagel. So I think like also just like having been around in like the community and probably having like seen like some of the stuff that's like happened is like helpful as well, especially compared to like some of the people who are like ranked below. But yeah, I think motivation would probably be like my biggest question mark. I'm glad to hear that that's like not at the moment a concern. But yeah, I guess I agree with what Nail said on this. Anything to add, Chister or Pig Warrior?
No, nothing from me.
Motivation is also just a really fickle thing. And like everybody struggles with it sometimes. So just you're not alone on that.
FPL is grueling. It really is.
If I were to say anything, I think QSNS is a solid player. I'm not 100% on the placement, but good enough to earn that placement just on his own merits.
I mean,
there's just some really strong players immediately below this.
No, I'm not trying to argue. I found it really funny that I was placed 3rd last year, and then I had like one of the best sheet records. I went 7 and 1 in that tour, and I'm 3rd again. I just find that funny. I'm not arguing for higher. But this pool is insane. This pool is silly. Oh god, it's gonna be fun.
It would actually be pretty interesting to like compare the rankings last year to this year. I don't know if we have time, but yeah.
The voters knew that I didn't get a chance to play last year.
Fair.
And we're finally going to get that next week.
I'm excited.
Can't wait.
All right, number 4.
Number 4, Spurific.
The final player earning a number 1 vote.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Spurific hasn't played in SCL since SCL 2, which he did win. He was on the winning team for that. I think he went like 6 and 5 in that tour. Has played DOU for like a fair amount of time. I'm not really sure like how long, but he's been around. I think this is like the right placement for Spurific because of like the players who haven't like necessarily played as like DOU in a while. I think I'd like rate him like the highest, I'd say, in terms of like experience. And hasn't had like a really excellent season in VGC. So it's not like he's been disconnected really from Mons. I mean, the two are like very similar. Any comments?
Yeah, no. I think Justin probably has the highest ceiling in the pool. He's just ridiculously smart, and very good at clicking buttons in VGC. which is close enough to DOU that it like there are some meaningful differences, but I yeah, I'm just gonna like sum up it like he top cut 3 straight tournaments in a row. He got 4th at Indianapolis, I think. Top 8 at Los Angeles regionals, and top 8 at the North American Internets. And then for his standards, he fell flat at Worlds, but cutting 3 VGC events in a row is ridiculously good. And so if he can find his comfort in this format, I would not be surprised to see Justin light the field up. He traditionally, just like in the past, has not done the SCL equivalent of cutting 3 tournaments in a row, including an international. When he's played DOU before, he's usually just a bit positive. But a lot of his, like, the difference between his floor and his ceiling is going to come down to his week-to-week team building, and just how solid his stuff can be, and like that'll come down to his support as well.
I think team building teams are kind of the question mark for me here, which is why I ranked him 3rd. 4th. Z is like definitely a good builder, but hasn't had the greatest team tour record, and I know they performed well in like the recent seasonal, but I think they just used like 3 bagel teams throughout the entire thing. I agree with Nails that he definitely has like the highest ceiling here. Probably next to Zern, but even then I'd rank Justin higher. It's just a question of whether the teams get there for me. I think Justin not being super connected to DOU right now might kind of makes that more of a question mark for me. But I think as a player, he's like the strongest here.
Yeah. I think he's somebody who'd really benefit from having a week or 2 at the start against the lower end of the pool. Not that the bottom of the pool is even bad, just having a week 1 set against or game against a Hunter is going to be a really big test coming out of the gate. Justin's very capable of winning it, but just having a locked-in build that early on into the tournament is going to be tricky. So if Justin gets rolling, he's going to be a really tough out, and I'm not looking forward to fighting him in week 8. But yeah, probably that's kind of the trajectory of his season. Is might start a bit slow and should ramp up, and that's going to be the theme of the VGCers that are still dipping their toes in.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is like this. Justin and Gavin are the 2 players that I would want to play most week 1, and thankfully I rolled one of them.
Yeah,
I'm
a bit scared for a lot of them to ramp up.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think one of the things that Sporific has going for him here is I think he got put on like the right team. Because I know he's like friends with Z. And I think this is like a good environment, I think, for him to do really well. I don't exactly like know what like his prep situation was in like past tours, but I definitely think like this year that should be mostly covered. But then again, I don't think Z has really thought about SV in like a year. So we'll have to see. But I definitely
that's kind of my worry.
Yeah. I'm just really excited to see him play like SV. To be honest with you, because I think we're going to see some really good games, particularly like week 4 and later ish.
Definitely a slot that'll get going as the tour keeps progressing if they start to find their footing. But
All right.
yeah, coming. Go on.
So in fifth, we have ESM, um, who went through 3K, which had a lot of people up in arms for pretty good reason. Has not played in SCL before. To be honest, probably didn't even like. I don't think like the thought ever really occurred to him to really like play an SCL because I definitely feel like he could have like last year at least because he's been like a solid DOU player for like the last like 2 or
Go to
3
his
years.
go to his record on the sheet. I'm curious about whether this is
He was good at
like
20. He was good
check,
last year. He was like he was like 20th.
um
Only played in like 2
the
tours.
like the win rate is not blowing me away for his 2023. Check 2022 and 2021 because ESM had definitely had a glow up.
That's true.
Yeah, I think he's someone else who kind of decided to be
Yeah.
good. He's definitely good, but
Like
I have not been super impressed before this.
yeah, okay, 2021 just is a guy in the community who also played some other tiers. And yeah, I don't think there's anything before this. Like yeah, just 50% win rate. Like not a bad player, but not a team tours quality player. But compare this to 2024, which is what I was going for. 2024 ESM is just a completely different animal. The his accolades have been thrown around a lot, but the 9-0 DPL, I think it was, just or 9-1 Derby. Circuit. There's been some speculation about whether that translates, and honestly, my take is it mostly does translate. He's not going to be putting up win rates that high against this level of competition, but I think that he's just another killer in the group. His teams are unconventional, but they are not unsound. And that's like a really important thing to remember is that just because other people don't play the game the same way as he does, it doesn't mean that he's probably slightly cutting corners compared to other builds, but there's just other like he makes team building choices for good reasons. So when you see him rock up with like Como when nobody else is playing Como or whatever other choices he's making, like the teams are inherently like sound and well constructed, and that's probably the most important thing for projecting somebody to build off meta teams is are they sound or not, and like he is difficult to build against is what I will say. I'm playing against him week 1, and his scout is constructed in a way that like there's a bunch of jank that all lines up well into each other's counters, and so you have to just kind of pick your poison on him.
I think I ranked him 5th. I think 5th was like a super bad hedge for me because I think he's either having a disgusting like 8-1 record, but I also think that this slot has like pretty serious slot potential. He's an incredibly strong player, but I did look through his schedule for all of these like really impressive accolades. It was not the strongest schedule. I haven't really seen him against. I know he's won a regional and put up good results, but I haven't like seen those games. And I think while his teams don't think
100%.
many other supports in the pool, besides like maybe XQ, would get what the fuck he's doing. So if I think he just needs a very solid playing partner, which Anne is, and if the season doesn't go well, Anne is like a very solid player who will show up and put up a decent record as well. Like Anne could easily start.
If we go look at back at the record sheet, we can actually see Anne is like top 10 herself
Yeah.
on the record sheet for 2024. Like, if there was ever a player in the support slots that I think will have a beating, like a direct pulse onto what the metagame is going to bring and bring it well into test games, it would be Anne. Anne is a phenomenal player to have paired with ESM. Like, she will absolutely be able to test the metal of his teams to their fullest extent. So
Yeah, Anne is a very good partner.
if this pairing prep bombs, I could easily see them going 8-1, like you said. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think there's a chance that also sometime like Bruxish, I don't know that fucking Pokemon, that thing gets brought, and it's gonna go terribly. I have no idea. But yeah, I mean, fifth is just like a complete hedge from me. It's a really weird slot to rank.
Yeah, I think like
Yeah.
there's a really huge upside here, but it's like it's a little bit untested because he hasn't really had the chances to like really play against a lot of like the scarier players that he's going to be playing against here. But I don't think that can really be held against him when like his only like performances really since like the start of SV have been like excellent. I think like across like all team tours since like SV started, he's probably like number one in terms of record, because I think his records were like the first World Cup was like 4 or 5-2. DPL was like 6-3. Then he went like 5-1, and then he went 9-1, and then he went like 7-2 or whatever. So I like he's done like everything he basically can into like who he's played. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he performs. And I think also like Anne is someone who very easily could have been starting. To be completely honest with you, I think Anne is like maybe like one of the more underrated players. Like has been very good for like a period of like 4 years, and really like only last year started getting drafted in these tours. And yeah, I think Anne is someone I'd rate like really highly as well.
I
So
would
I
put
think
Anne
this
like
hell,
6. Yeah.
if it
Something-
really came down to it, I could see Anne getting subbed in for ESM if things start going poorly.
Yeah, I mean,
Like-
it's ridiculous. I mean, let's say, ESM flops. I really don't think that's going to happen.
I don't
but
think so
let's
either.
say you spent 3K on the slot. You spent 3K on Anne. There's no downside here. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, I think
Yep.
like for like the price, this is like if we were like ranking like value based on price, yes, that would probably be like number one, to be completely honest.
Yes. Probably second behind Zern, but that's 10K Zern is also very unfair. So,
Well, what was he like? I thought he was
Yes.
17 or something.
oh, was he 17?
No,
Yeah.
he was 10K.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was retained for 10K.
Okay. Let's see.
What?
Yeah.
No. I'll
No.
check. I'm pretty sure it was not 10K. He won for more than
Yeah.
that last year.
I'm not sure that that's true, but
Zern's 17 and a half this year, and they
Okay.
were 14 and a half last year.
okay, my bad.
I
Okay, yeah, no,
still-
ESM is the best
it's
value in
still
the pool then.
It's still
That
good
price
value,
was
though.
for
It's not that
DOU.
crazy.
even.
You know, the value for Zern is fine. But yeah, ESM is definitely the best value on the pool.
Okay, I think
Oh.
that's enough on slot 5. Okay, so 6 we have
But
Sempa.
I wanted to say one more
Oh,
thing
okay, yeah,
about
go
it. There is no consensus on where to rank ESM. The individual votes for ESM, there weren't any individual vote didn't get more than 2 votes out of 9. Just
That's
a
interesting.
really widespread. there's one other person I think that's true for, which is was that even true? Yeah, Bagel also.
It's true for Bagel.
But yeah, there just was not a consensus mode ranking for ESM. So
Yeah.
and none of those predictions are wrong. They're he could. It's probably the highest variance slot.
Okay. Well, moving on to 6, we have Sempra. Sub was a sub slash support last year for QFNS. Then went on to get second in OSDT, and is now starting for himself. He's paired with XQ, who started last year, did not have a great run, but is now deservedly back after having like another great year, and improving significantly in team tour play. But yeah, Sempra will be starting. I think here the question mark is like the pairing of the two players. But I think Sempra is gonna do pretty well, just based on like his own like floor or whatever. But the question mark is just like how well is this pairing gonna work for me? Any thoughts here?
Yeah, Sempra is a very strong player, and I guess QSNS should probably be driving this one because they paired
No, you can go.
with
You can
Sempra
go.
last year. But yeah, Sempra just another import from the VGC scene who has also taken to DOU and just started playing VGC in Gen 9 and won their first regional that they showed up to. Then because he lives in the middle of Alberta, which does not have regionals close by, didn't go to another tournament until Worlds last year, and then top 8 at Worlds. And that was the first that we saw of Sempra. And so after seeing that much and talking with him a bit, uh, like I just told managers to buy him last year. Nobody gave him a starting slot, but he at least made it onto a roster and finally gets a chance to start this year.
Yeah, no, not a whole lot of
Did
records
not.
here, but the records here are very good between like the few couple of tours he's played. I think this is an
I've made a
interesting.
habit
Oh, sorry.
of I've made a habit of just like a couple weeks after a format drops, I'll DM Sempra and say, hey, yo, homie, what's the sauce this format? And they'll like tell me what the sauce is, and like I may or may not decide to play it, but he's never wrong. And like yeah, I just he's very good at identifying strong things, and then he clicks buttons really well. I'm very excited to watch Sempra play. Like, and I think he's his like career trajectory is very comparable to Sporifics. Just we have less sample size. Like Justin's been doing it for close to a decade at this point, and Sempra's been doing it for 2 years. But he's on the list of people that are really, really good at clicking buttons, which we have a lot of. This year.
We sure have a lot of them. Yeah, Sempra is just a fantastic player. So I helped him a bit with his OSTT run, and what would happen is he sends me 3 fully formed teams that he made without testing. I'd suggest one change. He'd thank me profusely, and then he'd go on to win, like the set. And that's like pretty consistently happens. I think he's like a very self-sufficient slut, which might be good because I'm questioning. I don't know. I really don't know about Sempra and XQ. XQ definitely has some activity issues, which is kind of scary. He will propose some absolutely wacky stuff and definitely follow through on some of it. So I just don't know about the pairing. But Sempra is just like incredibly strong. Extremely good button clicker. Will build very solid teams. I really don't expect like a flop from this slot at all. 6th feels like a ridiculous ranking for someone who like their first DOU tournament that wasn't SCL was 2nd in OSDT, but insane pool and all that. We have a lot of good clickers.
Yeah, no, the trajectory for Sempra is straight up. And
Yep.
yeah, the only reason Sempra is 6th even in this pool is because we just haven't seen enough. But I like if Sempra went 7-2, the only reaction I would have would be, oh, that's just another data point that matches the other data points. I guess I'm not supposed to have been surprised by this. Like,
Yep.
fair enough.
Yeah,
and if Sempra goes 4 and 5, that's not a disappointment either. Like, it's just going to be the rookie getting welcome to the big stage, and he's definitely going to have some like he's going to take some scalps and is going to like. I don't think there's much of a flop chance based on hearing what Sempra's like and just his prep. Also, the preps cycle that you mentioned, where he would show up with teams and you'd say, "Do such and such," is the type of thing that you can do by correspondence. So, if XQ
that's fine.
like you can post something and then come back to feedback overnight, and that works with a support who's 8 hours off from you in time zones.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Sempra's going to have to like find people to play against, but that's not that big of a problem. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I've worked with Sempra before on stuff. I don't know if he knows Gavin, but they're both West Coast-ish, so they'd probably be good testing buddies. There's Sempra's the second biggest question mark in the pool after ESM.
Yeah, I think this is.
I wouldn't say that. I think Gavin's a question mark for me, but
that's fair. Gavin's the second biggest question mark. Sempra's third.
I have 4 question marks in their slots 6, 7, 8, and 9. But I think with Sempra, the question mark is like not Sempra because it's only like I said, it's only because like having like teamed with like XQ last year can be kind of tough. And I am like a pretty similar time zone, I think, to Sempra. And I don't. It kind of depends because like last year XQ was only able to be online like Friday and Saturday basically, in like my time zone, so it was a little hard. But Sempra is like. I rate him like very highly. I think this ranking is like completely like unfair because like this guy is like he's just elite, and I'm like really glad that we're getting to see him like playing more of DOU. I think that's been like a really cool thing that's happened like the last couple of years. But it's just the pool is like so tough that you could really like reasonably swap like in my head at least like slots like 4 through 7 or so, and it would like kind of make sense in my head. Yeah, I'm really curious to see how this goes. I think it's going to be great though because like he of the VGC players, like he's like paid like the most attention I'd say to like SV, and I think that like Top Cut run could help him. Like that puts him higher in my eyes because like that's like a more recent ish thing than what a lot of like the pool has like actually done in the last year. And yeah, I don't know. Just generally agree with everything here.
Yeah.
I think he's going to do very well. I would not be surprised if he has like the second best record in the pool. To be completely honest with you, or something like that.
I mean,
I think he's
I
gonna. I think
basically ranked. I'm sorry.
I just think he might end up having to be like a little bit more self sufficient than some of the other slots, but I know he can do that based on like what you guys have said. Yeah.
I think I just ranked like the strong VGC players in order of like recent relevant FCL-ish experience. And Sempra was like middle of the pack for me, but I think they're all like very, 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 very good players that can definitely like smoke out the entire tour.
To
It's
it kind of
very
sticks out
hard.
to me that the VGCers are kind of ranked in like terms of their support power as well. Just like at least
Yes.
that's how I would rank the players because like
Mhm.
Yes.
I think Z Sporific is just way better support pairing than XQ Sempra, which is probably better than Gmob plus King of Mars, which they're all still great players. It's just like I can very clearly see why Sempra is below everybody just based off of the support slot, more so than his own merits. Because as everyone is saying, off of his own merits, he can go toe to toe with every person in this pool. No questions asked.
Clearly, yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was, and what I ended up tie breaking is I think that we have like I hold the the praise of they're pretty good at clicking buttons is a very, very high bar, and we have 7 players that I have seen enough from in the past that I'm comfortable with putting them above the bar. Bagel I haven't seen enough from, but a lot of people think that he is. But give or take, Bagel is an unknown for me personally. Someone else can tell you more about him. That is just top to bottom. The pool is really, really sound. And so yeah, the tiebreaker then is how good is the support? Because like of all those players, if they load up a good team every week, you're just gonna get it's gonna be a bloodbath, and we're gonna have a really good game of Pokemon. If but you're gonna I've made this point a lot, just because it's one of the most important parts of playing team tours. It's hard to build a doubles team every week that's fresh and
that you're
and just
satisfied with.
sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so coming, like you're just gonna drop a couple of weeks to running dog shit, like or relative dog shit. It happens to everybody, and so that's what the support is there for. Good support is genuinely worth like a couple of wins every week, and the support pairing is shakier here.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
But yeah,
No, I was just going to move
Still
us on, but if
very-
you have more to say here, go ahead.
no. Just echoing the point that the supports are how you decide it. And they're the tiebreaker between a bunch of slots that can all click buttons really well.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, so in 7th, we have Bagel. So this is the other slot. When we looked at like the rankings by who like did them, right? The only slot besides ESM that was kind of all over the place. Won 2023 circuit last year. Played an SCL last year. He was a sub to Meminger. Meminger unfortunately got drafted for like SCL right at the time that I think he like kind of stopped like being like super interested in SV. And so Bagel did get to play 4 games last year. He went 2-2. Important thing to note here: his support is someone who is not going to be playing DOU. His support is M Forbes, who is the greatest like DOU player probably ever. But it's just like a question mark how much help Bagel will get from him. I think my thing with this slot
If any at all.
is this is like 7 feels wrong to me because this is the only slot in the entire pool that I feel like confident predicting the record. And it's a 5-4 with a small chance of 4-5 because Bagel is remarkably consistent across like team tours. Every single like team tour I've seen Bagel play in, he has finished like right around 500. No matter how difficult his schedule has been, he's had like some pretty difficult schedules. And so I'm like pretty confident that that's about where he will finish. But again, this is a difficult pool. But I think if you give Bagel like a full season or anything, he will like at the very least come out like around there. But we'll have to see. What are everyone's thoughts here? Oh,
Well, he's
here,
gonna
look
get
so
This is the
interactive
most
because no
active.
one else is subbing in.
Bagel's gonna put up a bagel. It's either 9-0 or 09.
So true.
Oh.
That's all I got though. Like I said,
This is
I
the
don't know.
most
So
active
no matter
player
what,
in
you
the pool.
like a season.
The Bagel is by far the most active player in this pool. Is far and away got the most wins, like individual set wins of any player in SV this year. It is a tragedy that he doesn't have a proper support slot, because if Bagel did have a proper support slot, he would instantly be on the top half of this pool in most people's PRs. Literally,
You know, I
just
think
the support slot here. Bagel is incredibly consistent across all of the team horrors that he plays. He has a good win rate for a reason, because he just knows this metagame. Like this is the guy that I see building more teams that define this metagame than anybody else. You can go to some points in the samples, and literally half of the samples for the tier will be by Bagel or have contributions by Bagel.
Wait, that's kind of a good point. I forgot about that.
Like,
My counterpoint is how many of the rest of the pool was active at those stretches of the metagame.
0.
me, I was.
Okay, are you
Mine
the other
seems
half of the
fast
samples?
compared to his. No, absolutely
1,
not.
2,
Because I steal
Wait,
bagel
we have
teams.
yeah, we have ESM, Ann, and Frixel who are in this pool. Frixel is a support slot, Ann is a support slot. But
No way I have a sample right now, right? Yeah, no.
Yeah, King Gambit balance.
Absolutely not.
Oh, well, it was a ways down, but
Oh, that was an old one, yeah.
QoS.
Yeah, so
Should do
I
it.
ranked
just
Bagel
like
third.
Go ahead.
There are a lot of bagel teams. Yeah, so I ranked Bagel third, which was the highest ranking here. I'm probably biased because I have played like 1,000 games with this guy. I think he was my main testing partner for like last SCL. I think so. Third without his support is kind of insane, but I think he is the most capable team builder for DOU out of like the entire pool. As we see through the sample teams, yeah, as Schuster said, his teams are like very consistently defining the metagame, and I think he's a very good clicker. As someone who's clicked against him like 1,000 times, I think he can absolutely match the strength of the pool. He won invitationals. He puts up good team tour scores. He puts up great individual scores.
Too.
We don't talk about
Yeah.
DU. That shit's fake.
Yeah, he won both though, same time.
No, that shit's fake.
Fake
That
tier.
literally never happened, in my opinion.
I definitely understand him getting a debuff for not having a real support slot. And that is absolutely real. 3 was probably a little too high of a ranking for him, but I really doubt that he's going to do 7th in this pool. I think he's going to do pretty okay. I think I'm with Aragon. He's going to go 5-4-4-5.
What I can say about Bagel is that he was ranked by a bunch of non-mainers, and it sounds like he's the king of the mainers. So
he's kind of the king of the mainers.
If
that's a very good. That's like
getting slept on by a bunch of people who don't know him that well doesn't really say anything.
Yeah.
Zern and I have the notable PR buff of being in servers or talking to a lot of the non-mainers. Bagel doesn't really do that. So I think this ranking is like probably going to be proven wrong more than any other one on this list, but not by a ton. I don't see a ceiling as high as someone like Zern. But I think 7th is a little criminal.
Yeah, it's just there because like it's hard to imagine any of these guys really up until this point going negative. To be honest with you, but someone has to.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
If someone has to.
No. We'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry about it.
Slot.
No, all we know is that nobody yet has been expected to go negative. That's all we've seen so far.
That's true.
That's
gonna change, probably.
No.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay. other than Quad Reggie's. High quality replay.
Jesus Christ, I can't believe that was linked. Oh, he was so mad after that game, and I don't blame him.
This was put in the PR, man.
It sure
This
was.
game was
Oh,
actually
Thunderwave was
important
clicked?
for us.
Okay. It was not a real metagame. Bye.
It was not a real DPP game.
This
We just
metagame-
banned Thunderwave.
No,
We're safe.
this
I want
just
to
banned
put in
him.
another little extra nugget of information. Bagel was my main testing partner for Double LC. He was
Okay.
always there, always ready to do something.
Oh yeah,
And
he's
he
constantly
was playing
bugging me
really,
for
really
games.
well
Yeah.
in
Didn't
those
you?
games we
Did
played.
you win? Didn't you win LC Cup or something?
Yeah, I won the circuit for LC.
Okay, what I'm hearing is
One
that Bagel's a
little-
phenomenal support.
That
I'm
was
really
nothing.
happy that I told my manager to go up to 10K bidding on my support. It sounds like that would have been extremely worth it.
It
No
definitely
shade
would
to
have
my
been.
no shade to Aragon. We just had a lot of extra money to
He's
spend,
gonna
and I was like, yeah,
be
get
on
Bagel.
pulse. Yeah, I think he's going to be most
Um,
on pulse with the metagame, and it's just kind of a nerves thing. I think that's like honestly his main weakness in this pool. But I think last year it kind of showed he went 0-2 and then 2-0. And they were like pretty clear, decisive results both ways. I think he might also be another player who takes a little bit of time to ramp up and get used to starting, but I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
I will put one merit, singular demerit on the board. If ever there was like a slot that I would expect somebody like ESM to completely C team, it would be Bagel. No disrespect
Oh,
to
yeah.
Bagel, but that's just how matchup fishers have been like Bagel's teams are a huge portion of the metagame. So the people who matchup fish in this pool, like Bagel or Frixel, ESM or Frixel, will they'll be inclined to try it on Bagel.
I think I just like I rate Bagel like infinitely higher in best of 3 than I do in best of 1, to be completely honest with you. Because I've seen so many times he'll lose to just some like bullshit that probably would like not win a best of 3 set. To be honest with you. So I think but the thing is, it's a credit to him because he's like never done bad in a team tour where it's best of 1. He just doesn't put up the same like quality of records that he usually does in like individual tours, which are all best of 3. So yeah, okay, we're gonna move on to the Ape, which is King of Mars. So Gavin Michaels, one of the best VGC players in the world, has not played VGC in a year because of Jennings or something. He used to play on
I can
Smogon,
talk
like,
about this a little bit.
sorry.
Basically, he got DQ'd from the World Championships because of reasons that I guess I probably shouldn't go into if this is going to be on YouTube, because that's exactly what Gavin got banned for. But basically, he talked about the specifics of how the hack check worked, and somebody at TPC, I saw that and they were like, no, you're not allowed to do that, and they permabanned him with the swiftness. The video got immediately taken down, and the YouTuber who uploaded it was super cool about like canceling like a 45-minute upload that they had worked a bunch on for their 800K subs channel, because they weren't trying to get anybody banned. And he appealed it, and the appeal was successful, and so he got a 1-year lifetime ban reduced to a 1-year ban, and he's just serving his time.
That's not a fun situation.
What's his fun situation? Like with his support, or anyways, I'll just continue where I was. Yeah, so he took his 1-year ban. His 1-year VGC ban expires like a couple weeks after SEL ends. And so he's one of my buddies, and I was like, yo, Gavin, you wanna play this tournament? It'll help you get back into Mons. Like he's been somewhat active, like playing VGC formats as they come out during his ban year, because he's hopelessly addicted like the rest of us. But he's been playing it less than he would have otherwise. And he was like, "Yeah, that sounds like fun." And so, yeah, I'm not sure if this is going to be a recurring thing for Gavin. I hope it is because he's a great guy, close friend, and really good at clicking buttons. But yeah, I'm excited to work with him this year and be testing buddies and such, and um, watch him play. He's just been a tippy top tier VGC player for a long time, and very intelligent guy, and yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get to see him play some DOU for the first time in like a decade because I was actually like really curious about like because I saw he had like an SPL trophy, and so I went back um, and I was like I tried to find the SPL that he won, and he won SPL in like 2013, and this was how I learned that VGC 2013 was in an SPL. Um, and then he also won Smogon VGC Tour, the trophy that preceded the OSGT trophy. It's the same color. So he played on Smogon like back in the day. So I expect him to do like not as great as other players in the pool because like inexperience with the format is like probably highest here. But I do think like the supporting here is like honestly it's not bad because Gma is also someone who's like played a fair amount of like VGC, and like gone to like DOU and played a bunch of DOU as well. So I think like that could go well here, and also like he has friends such as Nails. So it's like it's kind of like I could see him doing really well if he picks up the format um, pretty quickly. But I think it's just gonna really depend here on like how the first couple of weeks go, type of thing. And I think that's like kind of dangerous because it can really go like either way. Um, because I think if he like starts doing well, he'll do like really well. It's just a matter of like picking up the format quickly. I don't know if that makes sense. Uh,
Yeah.
I think the issue for Gavin is going to be just consistently cranking out teams. Since he hasn't built for the format before, just finding something solid to run every week is probably going to be toughest for him than it is going to be for anybody else in the pool. But if he clears that hurdle, then he should be in a good spot every individual week. So I think he's going to have a couple of flop weeks and generally be a very tough out.
Understandable.
Yeah, I mean, this is my question mark.
But yeah,
He was
his
on
ceiling and his
one before I joined. I have no idea.
his ceiling and his floor are both a bit lower, but his gameplay is definitely the thing that's gonna have to carry him if he does well. And I expect him to do reasonably well.
There's not a whole lot to talk about here.
Almost everyone in the pool can do well. This is going to be fun.
I mean, this really is just the biggest question slot, at least for me, because like I didn't even know who King of Mars was before everyone told me it was Gavin Michaels. Like, never seen this guy. And I've been around. I've only been around 2 years, so it's not a huge thing.
Honestly,
After hearing everything that people have said about Gavin, I can see him doing well. But if you told me, okay, this is a VGC player who hasn't gotten to play that much VGC lately because I haven't touched DOU for a decade. Who am I putting in the support slot? And Gma would not have been the first person to come to my mind on that. Not to talk ill of Gma, but I do think there are stronger supports in the pool, and you combine that with Gavin's inexperience with the metagame, and I can easily see why this is in the lowest part of the PRs. But to Gavin's credit, apparently he's a very good clicker, so that might carry him through the tour.
To my knowledge, I think they got Gma specifically because they've talked before. Like they're at least familiar with each other, which you probably can't say about most of the other sports in the pool. And I think friends are broken, and I would rate like being comfortable with your support higher than like strict quality, I guess.
Yeah,
I think it's like a
I don't
pretty
really think
reasonable
that's like
support.
I don't think like it's exactly how supporting works. Yeah, I think it's more about like chemistry type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. So moving on to 9.
One more thing about Gavin. Gavin is the slot that occurs every year where it's like there's one or two VGCers in the pool that I'm begging, pleading managers to pick. Last year it was Justin Tang and Sempra, and nobody picked Justin, and Sempra was a support, and then Sempra like showed that he was clearly worth it, and I think Tang also would have done really solidly if he'd gotten a chance last year. But the managers finally listened to me when I was banging the table to pick the 3K VGCer instead of a 3K DOUer. And
He has a Smogon trophy. I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah,
I think
two
that
Smogon
might have sold him,
trophies.
to be honest.
He's he is a 3K slot, and so the bar is far lower for him to have to clear it and be successful. And I think he is extremely capable of being a successful 3K slot. If you told any VGCer that Gavin Michaels playing a doubles format was worth 3K, they would tell you that it was a steal.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Again, just another one of those players. I'm just really excited to see how he does. Yeah, I think like the tour is better off for him like being in it, type of thing. Okay.
Yep.
So moving on to 9th, we have Akaru. Akaru is like another like mainer. I think like one thing we could notice here is like the only mainer that's really like higher on here is like QSNS, and then like I guess you can count CERN as a mainer. But he plays a couple other formats too.
Bagel.
Yeah, Bagel. Bagel is the main. Bagel and like QSNS would be the two I'd say. And then Akaru. Akaru is like basically like purely a Smogon guy. Although he has like played some BGC in the past, but not nearly like
I learned that recently that Akaru made Day 2 Worlds at 2016 and seniors.
Yeah, that's the GOAT.
Oh yeah.
I
did not know.
But yeah, he started last year.
VGC Gen 7, but yeah.
Yeah, he started last year, went 3-2. Not a bad record. I was like kind of confused when he like subbed out last year. I think his team was just like eliminated from the tour or something. I think like it's honestly crazy to me that Akaru was 9th, to be honest. I would have put him like probably like around like 5th or 6th, to be honest. Because there are some like prolific team tour players in terms of like just the amount that they play. And Akaru like regularly plays in like every single like side Premier League on the website, and I've never seen him go like worse than like 5-3. Despite
I'm
being in
pretty
like
sure he's in like 17 tours right now.
and like I guarantee you in those like tours, like he probably barely preps. And he still does well. And so I think like
I can
in
vouch for
something like
that.
in like SCL, where he's like the one tour he's like probably guaranteed to actually prep, I would rate him higher. But I think he has like really good support here too. He also knows Frixel. Frixel has done really well this year. Won OSCT, did well on a couple indivs. But I think this is like ideal support for Akaru. Akaru got like really lucky with the support he got here, and then like the price tag. Neither of them were super expensive or anything. And I know like why he's down here, but it doesn't feel like right to me, to be honest. Because he did like pretty well last year. Has been like around enough playing like SVDOU. And I think his like ceiling is higher than like I'd rate his ceiling like higher than Bagel, to be honest with you, based on like team tours. Only considering
I'm also
team
surprised
tours.
to hear that.
Only considering team
Yeah,
tours
I can agree
because
with
I've seen like Akaru
Sure.
go like X2 or like X1 in team tours, and I've never seen Bagel do that. So I think like it's a little unfair, but I also understand like the quality of the pool is like higher. But Akaru has like a lot of experience, and I think 9th is just completely wrong. I'm to be honest with you. This is the only one I completely disagree on in the entire ranking. So that's my take.
I think
Anyone else can
yeah,
hang on
I
Akaru
think
now.
that's fair. I think that's fair. I think I put him 7th, which also does feel low, but I think he has a lower ceiling than a lot of the other proven button clickers.
Yeah,
I agree with
that for sure. I think his baseline is
Yeah,
little higher.
I think Akaru also has a propensity to bring, how to put this diplomatically, absolutely ass stall teams with toxic pets. I think that was brought last SCL. I think for that. Yeah. Oh, I was so mad at one. It was the Latias, CM Latias gets Aura Sphere, and there was a King Gambit on the other side, and somehow it won. I was so mad. But I think Akaru has a propensity to bring either ass or SMB teams from 2 years ago. But I think Frixel being in the slot helps a lot with that. I think he has a lower ceiling than a lot of the other very strong VGC players, but I don't think that means that they're going to do poorly. It's just you see star power of ESM going 100-0 in the last 10 team tours. You see Sempra with second in OSTT, and it's just I think Akaru is very consistent and consistently good at that. But it's just hard to rank them higher.
Oh yeah, I definitely think that's a fair assessment.
I think this slot's floor is very close to the ceiling for them. I would be very surprised to see them go better than 5 and 4, and I would be surprised to see them hard flop. But I don't think 3 and 6 is that unreasonable, and I would be pretty surprised to see them win outside of 3 to 5 games.
Yeah, I think middle of the pack is kind of where I'm expecting them. And I think there are just a lot of other players who could do better.
I think they will get their wins off of opponents dropping the ball and loading up trash, which just happens sometimes. But I've been beating this through that is a thing that happens sometimes, and they have a pretty low fail rate on their pairing. So yeah, I expect them to be a rough out every week, but I think that Akaru is going to be playing uphill in terms of just raw button clicking. And that's tough to get behind. And so I rated them 8th out of 9. And so I agree with where they ended up. But that isn't I really rate everybody above them highly. So that's not shade. It's just everybody here is good.
Shade. Akaru is great. Just very consistently good results against good players. I think they kicked my ass in SMPL twice. But yeah, I just think the ceiling is lower, but no shade at all.
So, as the person who's been on Akaru's team for 3 team tours in a row now that I've
That's pretty good.
up for, it was on his team in DPL, on his team in Derby, and on his team in NDPL now. I know that him and Frixel are going to be vibing in this slot. They're going to be having a great time. And if there was any person in this pool that I will say will literally run anything, it's Akaru. Akaru is absolutely down to get with the craziest matchup fishes. If Akaru wasn't my manager in EPL, the Espathra Arcalon team would not exist in DOU. It just straight up wouldn't. He was encouraging me to run absolutely insane shit in that tour, and now I'm playing with him in NDPL, and he wants me to build him absolutely insane matchup goob cheese things that he is very competent at clicking the buttons, and if you give him a team that can go absolute Mickey mode on a player, he is very inclined to do well.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair.
His favorite thing, but he absolutely is consistent.
Okay, if they're going to be the fish slot, then I shift my my reasoning for my ranking entirely and keep them in the exact same slot where I had them. If they're running the matchup fish high variance stuff that has it has a lower hit rate than running good stuffs, and does very consistently win 3 to 5 games this season. So completely different process, same end result. I still maintain my ranking.
Yeah. In Frixel's favor, he did very well with interchanging solid teams and teams that were really leaning into beating certain kinds of matchups to get the OSD run that he did. And I could see that maybe getting the same lucky success rate in this tour even, because SV is a volatile metagame. It just is. Like
I think
I
more
was with
than
Aragon
any other team
on
for it.
ranking them.
There's like, sorry.
I had Akaru and Frixel at like at their 6, like with Aragon when we did our rankings together earlier a couple weeks back. I could very easily see the slot swinging up and down very heavily, but I do think 5-4 is a very like reasonable prediction for these two, like 5-4-4-5. Like it's perfectly reasonable for this slot.
Yeah,
But
I
oh
think
boy, if they load
this
some
is a
funny
very
things.
weird pool. There's just like a very clear split between like the VGC player rankings and the mainer rankings, and I'm excited to see who's right.
I also think
And
like
I don't like
if there's
blame either party.
if
Yeah,
there's like any like player that I'd say like the VGC players are likely to like underrate, it'd be Akaru because they simply would not have like had contact with him at all.
yeah.
Okay,
Oh, I mean, I can't wait for Gavin to get
Oh, boy.
toxic text, but like, we'll see
Oh
how it
yeah,
goes.
that I do think Akaru will absolutely prey on the VGC slots in this tour. I don't
Yeah,
expect
I
that
think
to
that's totally
change. Like,
fair.
he is going to try to get you guys.
I don't. We'll see what happens. It's like I don't know. It's just hard. I think like I guess if you had to like put someone down here, it's not that unreasonable for it to be a Akaru type of thing. But um, he's definitely a player I rate very
Cool,
highly.
strong, all that.
But I think like it's like
Akaru did have a second place ranking in the pool.
interesting.
And yeah, based on the vibes mentioned, it probably wouldn't have been surprising to see the mainers ranking Akaru 4th and 5th. And then Akaru getting the sorry I don't know you from all the VGCers also fits.
Yeah. All right. And like the other thing is they're on the Shoguns. I'm not sure the Shoguns have ever had a positive DOU slot, so take that with a take that
Bar
for
is
what you
on
will.
the floor.
Okay. Moving down to 10th. Someone had to be here, and it's JRL. So this is like this might surprise some people watching. JRL like has been very successful for like the last like 4 or 5 years. However, he's not really like he's never really like broken like the like 500 in like a tour like SCL. He's always gone like right around 500, like one or like 6 and 7 or 4 and 5 as it says here. But the thing that's really holding JRL back here is he hasn't really played like SV since he won like ladder tour like earlier this year. And then he's paired with Tenzai, who I don't think has probably thought about SV at all since like last SCL. And even before that, I don't think he thought about current gen at all since the year before that. So it's like it's just not a great pairing based off of like how active the two players have been. Gerald is someone I definitely think can like play pretty well. It's just like I've never like I value him like a little bit higher in like non SV formats than I do in SV formats, to be honest. And lack of experience with like
In
the current
SF.
metagame is kind of why I think this is a reasonable pairing. As opposed to someone like Akaru who's like played a lot more, got like top 8 in OSDT, I think. where JRL just like hasn't really played that much, to my knowledge. I could always be wrong about that. But yeah, thoughts here?
Yeah, JRL was my ninth. I think he has just not been in form for SV. Like SS peak JRL would have probably been top 3 in this pool, which is a really insane thing to say, but he just has not been playing well for the past few years compared to where he's been. He's had a pretty disappointing SV. His ladder tour schedule, like he won that, but that's his only notable result. And I was looking at the schedule, and it was not SCL level, I guess. And I think motivation and activity on both him and the support are like very, very spotty. I know JRL can play Pokemon, but I just have very little trust in this slot, I guess.
Forgot this tour existed. Low key.
Me too.
I think like I qualified for this, and then like I got like really tired of playing Fluttermane, and so like I just like bombed round 1. I think that's what happened.
Oh yeah,
I miss her.
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think his strongest opponent this tour was like actuarially in the first round, but
yeah, it looks like that, to be honest.
Act is not an SCL level player, but he's a good one.
Well, he is an SCL level player,
SCL
but
level.
like he's just not. He didn't sign up this year. I totally disagree with that. Act is. I mean, I think Act would not like be in like the top half of this pool, but I think it's fair to say
agree.
he's like on the same level of like a lot of these like players. To be honest with you, he just didn't sign up, which is fair. Life outside Pokemon 1,000 times better, or something like that. I don't know.
So true.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. I've teamed with JRL in like a few team tours, and it's kind of just 2 sentences every week. We roll up with whatever. And, he clicks the buttons fine. It's just, I don't think preparation's going to be there. I don't know if motivation is really there. And I think of all the players on this list, not being confident in like almost any motivation for this tour is like kind of a death sentence in this pool. I don't think he's going to go like 0 wins or anything. I think he's competent enough to like not so clearly worse than the rest of the pool or anything. But I struggle to find him going positive, I guess.
I was a bit surprised that he was drafted. To start.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think.
But yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. I think like, yeah, that's fair. It's just not a lot of terms of like recent data here. The one thing this slot does have going for it is Gerald and Tensai are pretty good friends. And so like I think like that pairing is like as good as you're gonna get. I think with Gerald having like someone who can like, I bet like you could probably get more communication between those two than you could with like if you put like Gerald with like nearly anyone else.
Yeah,
which is
that's
good.
fair. I know that Tensai helped him with ladder tour prep as well, which he won. So that's like a good sign.
Yeah.
We also have Eric. He got a pretty good derby run.
Oh, that's true.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Eric and Tensai, I think they were a manager.
Yeah, they were
Manager pair.
We don't talk
a while
about
ago.
we don't talk about that manager pairing, IMO. But yeah, there's definitely some synergy here. It's just there's definitely the slot's definitely going to get grabbed like at least like a few wins. I think like everyone in the pool is like close enough that like I don't think that's like but it's like it's just going to be like hard to like in my head justify like bolding him against like I don't know someone like Semper or Bagel or like Akaru. Not even to mention like the top half of the pool, right? Like if you think about it that way.
The pool is full of killers, and I don't find JRL to be in the category. He is like fine.
Yeah, definitely not in this metagame.
Yeah. he's going to be fighting for his life every week, and it's going to go right some of the time, but I don't expect that it will go right that often.
Fair. All right, so that's the whole pool. So yeah, I don't know, but I guess why don't we take a look at like the week one game, SCL week one.
I'm probably gonna have to dip for these.
Okay, thank you for hopping on.
Of course,
No
fun times. I'm
rapid fire
sorry.
predictions.
Oh
30
no,
seconds.
okay. I'm gonna be honest. I think I would probably just bold based on PRs for week one. It's very hard for me not to. I kind of looked at the matchups, and
That's fair.
a lot of the people with very high upside would take a week or so to ramp up. So I'm kind of just going by PRs for week
So
one.
you have Zern over Akaru, QSNS over Sporific, Bagel over
I mean,
King of
I hope I
Mars,
win.
Semper over JRL, and Nails over Eternal Snowman.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, very boring rankings. All right, have fun. Bye.
All right,
Thanks for having
bye.
me on.
Take care.
Okay, yeah. So let's just get started with Zern versus Akaru. I think this is like it. I think I kind of just have to go with Zern here, just because like it's Zern. This is like kind of a tough round one pairing for Akaru, I'd say. Um, I really think this is like pretty competitive. I don't. I think like to be honest with you, I think like the gap between like slots 1 and slot 9 is honestly like not that big. To be honest, I think like after slot 9, it kind of like I think there's a gap between Akaru and JRL in my head. Um,
Sure.
so I think this is a very competitive game. I don't like, but I think I gotta give like the prep edge to uh Zern and Lunar just because like they're coming off a 9-1 season and then winning DPL together. I don't think it doesn't seem right to bold against Zerd in week one of SCL, if that makes sense. And I'd say that like pretty
Sure.
much regardless of who he was playing.
Um, i- if Akaru has some cheese to whip out, now is the time.
This is true.
I definitely, I definitely want Akaru to win, but I don't expect that to be the outcome.
Yeah, that's crazy. Um, okay. QSNS versus Sporific. I think this is like very competitive game. To be honest with
This is
you.
the game of the week.
Yeah, I agree. Um,
Um,
hmm.
I'm very excited to see this one go down.
I don't even like know really how to predict this.
I'm gonna predict QSNS
Well,
because recent activity and um, Justin might take a little while to get going.
we did say that the one thing that we have like against Z and Justin is that they're gonna need a couple of weeks to like ramp up because neither of them has been too particularly active with the metagame. So I think by that merit and where QSNS is like placed among the pool, I think it's pretty safe to say QSNS, but it's still gonna be a very good game.
Just because I don't want this to be
But
unanimous, and I also think it's very close. I'm gonna go with Justin. Um, I think like QSNS's activity in DOU has not been very high in like the last year, to be honest. So I don't actually think it's that big a deal, um, really, because like the last time QSNS played SV, I think was like DPL, and the metagame was ass. The metagame was boring, and so they kind of like stopped trying. And I was the co-manager, and I stopped trying. Um, and so having that as like the last result in my mind is a little bit difficult. I think this is very even, but I think the gap in like activity is not as large as it might seem, almost. Um, and I think Sporific's coming off of like a really great streak of like playing Mons, and I kind of expect that to continue, to be honest. But I don't disagree with like picking QSNS. I'm just like my gut is telling me Sporific here, and I don't entirely know why. Okay,
I mean, Justin's a very strong player, so um, he, your gut is onto something. But yeah, no, I think it's going to be a close game, and I think it's probably like 55-45. If
I agree.
I think Justin is a bit better player than QSNS, and I think that QSNS more consistently has building than and the building edge is slightly larger than the play edge,
Okay, fair.
but neither edge is very large, and
Yeah.
so it can just come down to matchup as well.
I'm really excited for this game. I'm just gonna find the time so anyone watching can hear what time it is at. Let's see.
I am very hopeful that I will get to watch this one. Baltimore Swiss should be done by then, and I'll be looking forward to watching it at dinner.
It is 5 p.m. Pacific time and 8 p.m. Baltimore time. I'm just gonna say Baltimore time.
Yep.
I don't know why I said Baltimore time. But yeah, so that's
Because it's the time
6
in
p.m.
Baltimore.
6 p.m. GMT -6 if you want to go there. So yeah, be there. It'll be a great game. Okay, King of Mars versus Bagel. I think this one I am just comfortable going off of PR. I think Bagel just has a lot more like current metagame experience. And this is exactly the kind of matchup where I think Bagel is favored just because I expect King of Mars to be bringing something like decently standard based on like what the metagame is, but I think Bagel just has more metagame knowledge at the moment because of actually playing the tier recently. I don't know. I don't want to like underrate King of Mars here, but like this is Bagel's like here right now type of thing.
I am gonna back Gavin because I am sleeping on the mainers, and Gavin's my bestie. Heard it here first, Gavin. No, I rated Gavin one higher than Bagel in the PRs. I think it is a close matchup. But yeah, I'm gonna trust in Gavin's clicking ability.
Alternate
might be a
timeline.
foolish prediction though.
M4 versus King of Mars, if only.
I would be picking. I'd be picking the Gibbles player in that instance.
Okay.
Which is not shade towards Gavin. It's just massive respect for Emilio.
Fair.
For reference, with as stacked as the pool is, I would have given Emilio my number one ranking if he was playing doubles. Despite the fact that he has not touched the tier all gen. That's just how much respect I have for Emilio as a player and a builder, honestly. He is the GOAT. And
I think if Bagel gets like any more than like one line of week of like support from M forms, then like Bagel goes up a lot.
He would go.
In my
he would go way up my rankings. Yeah.
Okay. Sempra versus JRL. Sempra has played more recently. I think Sempra is like a slightly like a better clicker, to be honest with you. I'm really excited for this game because we're gonna get to see Sempra like start for the first time in SCL. Aside from one game that will not be mentioned. And yeah, I think Sempra probably takes this. I'm curious what JRL pulls up with because it's been like a minute. But I think I'm gonna go Sempra here. I think going off of PRs makes sense in my head here.
Yeah. So this is going to be really interesting just to see where both of them are.
Exactly.
And see if our preconceived notions about both of them are fair.
Yeah.
I'm 100% on Sempra for this one.
Me too, but I will acknowledge that JRL is a longtime DOU vet, and if he comes out and he's gaming, then I'll have to eat crow. And as for Sempra, yeah, I'm just it's a reasonable measuring stick to start out with.
Yeah. I think as long as Sempra takes this like with the respect it like the matchup deserves, I think he'll be fine. Which I have no doubt he will. But you just don't want to like forget that even though like JRL is like ranked last, you still like it's just a little scary because it's like, what JRL are you going to get? Like, are you going to get like the JRL that hasn't played SV in like 6 months, or are you going to get like prime 2022 JRL that's winning every game?
Sure.
And it's also like a different format. So I think Sephiroth is definitely the safer pick here, because Sephiroth just looked very, very good in SV, to be honest, and like I don't expect that to change. I think this is one of those games where it's just we are going to be able to get a lot of information just based off of like how these two players, what they bring and what they play in the game. Okay, Foxes, ESM versus Nails. No comment, I guess.
I mean, like ESM's been on fire in every DOU tournament, and I've been I had an okay VGC season, but I peaked at top 8 of for my finishes, like a regional top 8 for my finishes, and otherwise ESM was also outperforming me in VGC. I do feel like I'm better at DOU than VGC, but like it just ESM is on form, and my form is a big question mark. So just where it'll be cool to see how I'm doing, and cool to see how he's doing against supposedly a higher level of competition than he's run into in the past. Week one's always so exciting just to see how everyone's shaping up, and how in shape everybody is. So I'm looking forward to this one as a spectator as well as somebody who's going to be playing in it.
Fair. Just do you have anything to add here as the only neutral party? So,
That
Nails
neutral
versus
because
ESM.
honestly, you could put any player in the pool in this slot, and I would say I think ESM's going to win. I think
Fair
he's the
enough.
strongest player in the format.
Sure. No, that's a fair take. He's been crushing everybody. And I think that if you had told all of the managers ESM is going to go for 3K in this draft, they would have planned around it differently and heavily considered like changing their plans. But just the draft works in mysterious ways, and he slipped through.
yeah. I'm also looking forward to this game as a spectator. I think it's going to be really interesting because I've just really wanted to see ESM play against like the top of like the DOU like typical like PRs that you see or whatever for a while, and I just like haven't gotten to see that, and I've wanted to see it for a while, and I think this is like a great this is a great round one matchup. This is like exactly what I've been looking for a while.
Yep.
For ESM, but yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. I think that'll be the stream. Thanks to everyone who contributed, obviously, and thanks for everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed. My goal for this, just to be like completely honest, is I want to like I will try to get like a weekly recap with as many people as I can get to join. Preferably people who are playing in SCL, but also some people who are not, if we need people, et cetera, et cetera. But I will be trying to do that. However, I do have school, and school sometimes makes me busier than I would like to be. So I'm not sure how that'll go. But the goal is like to have like a weekly recap, go over all the games. Because I've know like that was something that happened more in the past, and was like slightly like prior to like my time. But I've always thought that would be like really cool to do. So I will try to do that to the best of my ability. But yeah, thanks for watching, and see you next time. All right, stream ended.